So hello, welcome to stage 46 of the fire truck, and I'm going to be positive here. And rather than being I'm going to be a positive Penny rather than a negative Norma that I sometimes am with this build. We've been doing storage container, storage compartment, storage compartment, storage compartment. We did get this in the last issue. We've got all these little boxes to fill. The storage compartment we got isn't even part of this. So we would naturally be assuming that we're going to be doing another storage compartment today. But we're not. We're going to be doing a rear right stabilizer and steps. So let's have a look. Okay, so hopefully my microphone is working. 1, 2, 3. Yep, lovely. So today we're going to be doing the stage 46, the rear right stabilizer and steps. So let's crack on and have a look at the parts. And again, lots of little storage baggies that we get with this, which I said they were really handy at first, and now I've got to the point where I'm like, stop with the bags, I've got so many. Right, so let's have a look at the parts in no particular order, well, as they're printed in the magazine. So we have the rear right stabilizer, and I didn't notice this at first, but these do actually move. You have a little button there, and if you press the button, it does release the stabilizer, and then you can either push it back, and I find that there's you have to catch it all the way. If you just push it, you have to actually push the button in to fully lock it in and push the button to unlock it. Oh, there we go. So that's that. It's a shame we can't build it, but the question is, how easy or hard would that be to build? You know, would that sort of cut some builders out where they just maybe can't do it? Just because I can't doesn't mean everybody else can, and vice versa. Right, so a lot of these parts look very, very similar, so I would suggest to you guys spend a little bit extra time sorting these parts out. We have done this sort of thing before. This has got some really tiny parts in, so I'm not even going to open that bag. So we're after a big plate, which I think is this one. See, this is the step back plate. And this is the view that they show us, and it's, you know, can you tell them between the part? If they showed us this part, wouldn't that be a lot better? It makes it a lot more unique. So that's that part. Then we have 2 step brackets. Again, if you've watched all of my videos, you'll have seen these parts before. And to place them in the same way as the magazine, I think it's that way. So that's step brackets. There we go. Right, so next we have a stabilizer support plate, which I think is this one. And then we have a light lens and a light frame, which I don't want to move out of the bag, and then we have a step handle. They're very, very small parts, so I'm going to put those there. Then we have got, this is the left step side plate, and I'll tell you how I know that when I show you the right side step plate, and it's all to do with the positions of the holes and the details. So if you look, the holes are different, and there's 2 little details there. So that's the left, that's the right, and then that leaves us with step 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now we've done steps on the other side, and we don't know which way round these are, but there's a difference in the size of the nubs on the end. We've got 1 short, 1 long and 2 medium, but if memory serves me right, it will explain which one is which. in the instructions. So that's those. So we need to first of all take our storage compartment frame supplied in issue 44, which is this one, and what we need to do is take the stabilizer support plate, which is this one, and with the notch in the top right position, there we go. Look, I didn't notice that. Can you see in the corner it's not? If you look at those two corners, they're very square, aren't they? If you look at those two corners, one is very square and one is just notched off ever so slightly. So that notch in the top right position, and it says insert, but that don't really help, but it's going to go that way, and it doesn't fix, there's no positive. I suppose you could, yeah, it doesn't feel awfully wrong if you put it in the wrong position. Now it feels the same. So yeah, so make sure that notch there, and you can feel it if you if you feel it, you can feel the difference. So I'm just going to pop that there, and then what we need to do next, and this is going to help everything fit properly. With the support plate resting in place over the two fixing points, position the right stabilizer, and you'll see there's two screw holes there, and that's going to go in, and now everything becomes a lot more positive. So you see that back plate isn't going to move, and that's not in, and it's going through those two holes. It's not in perfect, but it never is. In fact, actually, I've got to be honest with you, it would have been easier if they told us to put this support plate onto the stabilizer and then put that onto the, and you see there that that's not a bad fit, and I'm hoping we need two screws. So hold the compartments in place as you turn the frame over to fix everything from the opposite side. Fix the stabilizer using two type H screws supplied with stage 44. Now, possibly a little bit overkill. They've explained that in 4 steps to do all of that. 2 steps, maybe 3, 4 is, to say hold in place while you turn everything over. But then again, they cannot be accused of making things too complex. So I put that screw in just enough to bite, and the reason I do that is so that I can, if anything slips, it just gives me the opportunity to just adjust things, and I think that's in right. So this second screw can be driven in all the way. Now what I call all the way is because this has got a plastic part there. If you feel the resistance, once that resistance increases, it's time to stop. You can always tighten a little bit more later on, but if you break all that plastic, you're too late. So there we go, it's changed, it's increased. So now what we do is we give that a wiggle. I don't know, I'm not convinced. I think I'm going to give that maybe 1/8 of a screw. So do you see they're not much. Now again, we can always screw more. Oh, that I am really happy with that. I just felt there was a little tiny bit of give, and now it's just got rid of that tiny bit. So there's the stabilizer on, there's the stabilizer working. So everything is hunky-dory. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to shake the camera. So on to step 5, and we have got, here we go. Take the 4 steps and note the differences in their size and their lugs. Step 1 has very short lugs. So this is step 1 with the very short lugs. Step 2 has long legs. Step 3 and 4 are identical. So there we go. I did actually, by coincidence, place them in order. So, whoops. So step 1 has got the short legs. Focus. Right, step 1 has got the short legs. Step 2 has got very long legs, and step 3 and 4 are identical. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so take step 1 with the very short lugs and align them with the step bracket in the orientation shown. Apply a drop of glue to the lugs before pushing them into the holes in the bracket as shown. So we want this one. There's a slight bit of detail, almost like it's the back. Can you see you've got a couple of push marks there, and it seems to want us to put that on. And then, but then what happens is on this side it's very smooth, and on the outside we've got those marks. But I think that might be hidden by the storage container. So we want it in this orientation. We're going to apply a little bit of glue onto there, and we're going to glue that on like there. So that's a very good push fit test fit. So I'm going to use my thin glue, and I'm going to hold it over my little waste. In fact, actually, what I can do, I've got some glue on here. I build issues consecutively, so I've only just built last week's issue. It's been a week for you, but it's been about 10 minutes. So I still have this glue left over. So I'm just going to rub the lugs in the glue, and I think that will be a lot easier and less messy. There we go. And that's not wanting to go. So I'll just give that a moment. And that is not looking the same. Right. That's not looking the same. Why is that not looking the same? I think it's okay. So that's really strange, because I had it in the correct orientation. I applied the glue, and now the picture is actually showing this side as being glued on. Yeah, do you know what? I'm gonna snap that. I think it should be that side. That's weird. So lesson learnt there. Have a little look at the instructions, and I've used up most of that glue on there now, so I'm going to have to apply some glue. So touch of glue there, and voila, perfect. Just wait for that to set a minute. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take step 2 with the longest legs and push them into the free end of the bracket, and then we will apply the other side. I had a feeling actually that was, you know, you see that where you've got the horrible glue marks there, but it is going to go on that side anyway, so it didn't really make a difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply glue to the lugs. Yeah, I'm just going to double check this, because I don't want these steps glued on the wrong direction. Right, I believe that is correct. Yeah, so glue on the lugs, spread that around, insert lugs into hole. Just, you know what, I did a last double check, make sure that the orientation of the steps were the same, and they weren't, and I was just able to rotate them. There we go. So that's what that almost looks like. There we go. That doesn't want to stick. Why is that not wanting to stick? Maybe I need to get my super glue gel out, being a little bit thicker. Maybe I thought I'd put some glue on here and I didn't. There we go. Oops. that's stuck on. That's on fine. Right, so next step then is we want to put this bracket on. Oops. Like so. Oh, you know, this will be fine once we get the other side on. So what I'm going to do here then is I'm actually going to apply the glue directly to the frame, making, yeah, that's fine. I'm making sure I get the orientation correct, you see. It's a weird way to explain this, but we want to put plenty of glue on, but not too much, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And we're going to line these, and we know this bottom step fits because we've already glued that in once. So, and I forgot to do a test fit. Bad me, I've got away with it. There we go. Made ever so slight mess of that, but not anywhere important. There we go. So that's the bottom steps done. I hope it's the bottom steps. Right, so next step then is we want to take the step 3 and 4 and push it into the holes in the right hand side panel, which is this one. Because remember I said that this one's got some details in, and this is going to go in this way. Oh, do you know what? No glue required there. There we go. That's going in like so, and now I can see why that step 1 has a longer pegs. Because now we need to push the lugs from this one into the bottom of there, like so, and that is looking like a success so far. My biggest fear was that I stuck these on upside down. Okay, and next we're doing just a little bit of work on this side. Now I can see where the detail is, why the detail is, sorry. So two things we need to do. We need to take this. Now this is meant to be a push fit, but I always have a little bit of trouble, and this is a bit of a fiddly part. What we're going to do is we're going to push that onto there, and as I say, quite often it falls off. So, and also handling this is difficult. So I have what we call a pick-me-up pen. I use it mostly for diamond painting, but it's got a little bit of blue tack on the end. It does pick that piece up nicely. What you can do as an alternative is get something thin, for example a cocktail stick, and pop a bit of blue tack or something sticky on the end, and you make your own stick. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my cocktail stick and some glue, and I'm just going to pop a tiny bit of glue in there into each of the little holes, like so, and then when I apply this, it shouldn't fall out. There we go. And again, because this has got quite, blue tack is rather sticky, so if I can't pull that out with a pick-me-up stick, we know it's probably incorrectly. It's inserted correctly. So, right, so this assemble the light by pushing the light lens into the light frame, then push the assembled light unit onto the back plate. Right, gotcha. So this light needs to go onto this one. There we go. So the light needs to go onto this back plate, but the handle needs to go onto this one. So we're going to do that with glue, and I'm going to use cocktail stick for this light. I can also see, do you know what, I'm going to put a little bit of glue just on the tips there. I don't want to risk lots of glue coming out of this tube, but also be aware that this has two different size pegs. I don't know if you can see it, but that peg there is slightly bigger. So why this needs to be directional, I do not know. And for a bit of good luck, what we can also do is get this thin glue. We can just apply it on the back, and because it's runny glue, the capillary action should run into the gaps, and then hopefully that will be stuck on there forever. And then we're going to test fit this handle. Sorry guys, I feel like I'm rushing for some reason. I don't know if I am. Now that is a really tight fit actually, and I don't feel that needs glue. So I'm going to leave that pushed in, and just for a bit of belt and braces, we're going to do the same again. A little bit thin. This won't work with super glue gel. The super glue gel is too thick. But if you ever watch any of my scale models videos, you'll see that I do, I hold two parts together, and then I run a little bit of thin super glue along the seams, and the glue actually runs in between the seams. This is the exact same principle, just applying a little bit of glue on there, and it's all good. Right, so while that one's drying, hopefully this is dried enough. Lovely. So this now needs to go onto the back here, and you see we've got two lugs there and two holes in the back, and that's going to go in. Now remember that we haven't glued these steps in, so if we aren't careful they're going to pop out. And then what we need to do is we need to pop this on, and we need to line all of these holes up like so. Now it's telling us to glue this in, which is, in my opinion, very good advice, but I'm going to use my little capillary action trick with the super glue. So I'm going to assemble all of this dry, and it's going to need some manipulation with the steps. There we go, that's in place. And do you know what, to be honest with you, I could possibly get away with not using glue there, but I am just going to go belt and braces. I feel that once this is in place, if you look at this side, you can see it's actually held in place with other components. So I feel that the only reason we're gluing this is just to keep it together until we actually assemble it. So I will apply glue, but I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not doing it because I think it needs it. I'm doing it because the instructions tell us to. Remember, I've not followed the instructions in the past and come a cropper. So just a tiny little drop. I'm doing it this way because I'm using thin super glue. If I was using thick super glue gel, I would need to apply the glue onto the lugs because it wouldn't do the capillary action. There we go. So that's in place. And that's that, I believe that's that issue done. Yep, that's that issue done. So this is what we're left with, guys. So we've got these steps. Got a little lug on the back there, so that's going to go in something like that onto something. But yeah, it looks something like that when it's in. Obviously it's not attached yet. So right, that's the end of that issue. And so next issue 47, will be compartment inner and first ladder parts. And spoiler, it's time to get excited. So Again, as always, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.